Welcome to Tremendous Talk. We got the industry, tea, and the jokes. Actors, directors, musicians, and more. You're listening to Tremendous Talk.
Hey, I'm Law.
And I'm Ash, and this is a Tremendous Talk podcast.
Each week, join us as we guide you through the realms of Hollywood and beyond as we speak to industry professionals in the spotlight.
So grab a boba tea and leave your shoes at the door. Welcome to Tremendous Talk.
It's good to be back, Ash. I missed a whole episode.
You
and it
did.
was so good. If you guys haven't
gallivanting in the streets.
I was gonna say I was gallivanting at barcades and at my friend's Airbnb. It was very nice, but I love the episode you did with Kang and Brandon. That was so good.
Oh, they were fun to talk to. It was a blast.
Yeah, super uplifting, super charming, both of them. You guys if you haven't watched that one, go back and watch that either after or before this, whatever. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited that we're doing a podcast again together. It's been a crazy February. I think you could agree.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. But we're back. And today we have a pretty cool episode, I would say. This week on the episode, we have Michelle Sugihara, the executive director of CAPE, which is the Coalition of Asian Pacifics in Entertainment. CAPE is the premier nonprofit organization creating opportunities and driving change for Asian and Pacific Islander success in Hollywood.
And CAPE is having their annual Radiance Gala in March. Their inaugural Radiance Gala was actually last year, so this is really, really, really great. Radiance is a celebratory fundraiser featuring an artist award program honoring influential Asian and Pacific Islander women and non-binary achievement in Hollywood.
Amazing.
It's the first of its kind. Incredible.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it in the episode, but this didn't exist 2 years ago, and so it's pretty incredible how it came to be. But incredible because the people surrounding it are such hard workers, and Michelle is. You guys wouldn't believe the resume or the background. She's been entertainment attorney, a film producer, adjunct professional at Claremont College's Intercollegiate Department of Asian American Studies. Whoa, a public speaker covering topics such as Asian representation in media, women in entertainment, diversity and inclusion, leadership, and more, and is deeply involved in several community organizations.
Yeah, dude, she has like an insane amount of awards on her belt. I couldn't even include them all in this intro, but some are the City of Los Angeles Rise, Recognizing Individuals Who Elevate and Empower Award, the KTLA 5 AAPI Visionaries Award, and so many, like it's insane. So many awards.
Literally Google it, you guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. I when it's a very Asian thing to do, but it's like your parents compare you to other people.
I would not want to do that.
I was like, please don't compare me to Michelle. There's no way. There's no way I'm living up to that. You know what I mean? Well, you never know. There's time, but I will say it is such an honor to have her on the podcast. Yeah.
Yes, and I personally, just from working with her so much and literally emailing her all the time, I just want to say Michelle is like goals for me. So let's dive into the conversation with her.
Welcome to our Tremendous Talk with Michelle Sugihara.
Woohoo.
We are very, very excited. Michelle, it's funny because I see you around so much, and I don't know if I've ever formally introduced myself, but thank you for coming on the podcast. First of all, you do so much for the community, and it's always cool to see. I'm a little shy, but it's always cool to see you at events and spearheading stuff. But we're so happy to have you on Tremendous Talk. I guess my first question is, how are you doing right now?
Thank you for asking. And also thank you for accommodating my schedule switcheroo today. It's been a lot. We're all very busy, but it's very exciting stuff. So thank you. I'm excited to talk to both of you today.
Yay.
Amazing. Well, I think, we have a bunch that we can cover, but for our purposes, we want to get an intro to you, your origin stories and all that stuff. And I guess my first question is you were I believe born and raised in Hawaii, right? And
yes.
And then now you're in the entertainment industry, and there's so many acronyms associated with your name of accolades and awards and organizations. And I guess what was kind of the driving passion or the start of that part of your career?
I think You hit the nail on the head. The starting point really was growing up in Honolulu, Hawaii, and being surrounded by other Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and not really thinking twice about it until I came to Los Angeles for college. And that's really when I started learning just more about the history of just Asian American history. I took my first Asian American studies class as a freshman, and then really just dove head on from there. And so that's always been something that has since then been a big part of everything that I do.
Oh yeah, totally. I know you're teaching those classes.
Yes, I know. It was like a big full circle moment. I went to the Claremont colleges here in, I guess, San Bernardino. And at the time, there was no Asian American Studies major. And it had to get approved by all of the 5 different colleges to make it like a one intercollegiate department. And so a group of us took it over the finish line. It had started like back in the 70s or 80s. And then we took it finally like decades later across the finish line, and it got approved. And so they instituted the major the year after I left. And then now I'm really excited to go back and teach there.
Amazing.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Wow. Yes, completely full circle. And then I want to take it back to I see for those of you not watching the video, Michelle has a Cape banner behind her.
Yes.
And it says since 1991. I want to know, can you walk us through the origins of Cape and what got Cape started?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for noticing my old school banner, because my laptop doesn't handle the virtual backgrounds very well. And so this is a real live prop that I always have. And so it's just our stand-up banner. And Cape was started in 1991 by 3 very senior executives at the time, who looked around and said, there has got to be more of us. And I know at the time, Star Trek and other shows were very popular. And so the thing that they would always say is there were more space aliens than Asians on TV at the time. And so they banded together. They had their first meeting in the back of a Chinese restaurant, and it grew from there, because everybody knew somebody who knew somebody. And then it slowly started rippling out into what we have today.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That sounds like a good start to a movie. Like a biopic of the start of Cape. That's great. We got to, we got a little intro in, and I totally skipped over this, Ash. My apologies, but I totally forgot to do the fun lightning round. And it's another way we can get to know you a little bit on like a sillier level, I think.
Yeah.
But Ash, do you want to lead this one? You're really good at speed rounds.
Okay, so since you mentioned you're born and raised in Hawaii, I have to know, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No,
No,
definitely not.
I think that's been a trend. Yeah, we've gotten no's this whole time.
No's from everyone but me, maybe.
Okay. We'll go faster. What's your favorite boba order?
I really like lychee jelly, actually. I know this is kind of off topic, but also Boba Guys has this like strawberry fresca thing that they always have at all the events. That is my favorite.
They're geniuses over there, scientific
Solid.
geniuses with the juices. What's your current TV show that you're binging?
Shogun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can see the first 2 episodes on Hulu.
I need to listen to
ago.
that soundtrack. Just the premiere and all the music. I'm obsessed. Okay. What's a movie on your watch list that you can't wait to see?
One thing I can't wait to see in theaters is Dee Dee. So it premiered at Sundance, and I had watched it on my laptop with a screener, and then I didn't make the Sundance screening, and so I want to see it on the big screen. It's supposed to come out in the summer.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Okay, and then if you could put yourself into the world of any show, TV, movie, film, whatever, what would it be?
It's a funny question. I was thinking Crazy Rich Asians, just because it was such a beautiful world, and then also Expats. I don't know if you've watched Expats, but whoever did their location scouting for that show is amazing, because their locations were so beautiful.
We're pretty
maybe I'm just saying I want to move to Asia. I don't know.
Yeah, you just want to be in Hong Kong for a while.
There's a scene where Mercy is sitting in the diner right before Charlie comes in, and that diner, I just want to eat there so bad, because you see places and it just looks like the food is delicious.
Exactly.
Okay, and then speaking of dinner, if you could have dinner with 5 people, alive or not, who would they be?
Oh, that's a whole
Oh
table.
my gosh. I know that's a lot. I don't, isn't that also like the first question in that New York Times thing? Like
How
the
to
30
fall in
questions
love.
to make you fall in love?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
it
funny.
is. Michelle, are you ready?
I don't know. Are you trying to? Well, we've got 4 people on this call right here. That would be a fun dinner. I don't know. I think honestly it would just be my family because I don't get to see them and we're in all different parts of the country. And so that would be something that I would look forward to.
That's very sweet. And I'm taking that for whenever I get asked that question.
That's a beautiful answer.
That's a great question. All right, yeah, great answer. I guess something that we definitely are highlighting in this episode and just like until it happens is the Radiance Gala. And I think a big question that I would like to know is how did it all come to be? How has it been planning it for, the I mean, it's the second year, I believe, right? So yeah, tell us how at least the origin story of that, if you could.
Oh, yes. So the origin story is something that I cannot take credit for. It is the brainchild of Julia Escow, who is a phenomenal supporter of the Asian American Pacific Islander community. And it was December, see, 2022. She says, "Hey, did you realize that there is no event during National Women's History Month in March that celebrates Asian Pacific Islander achievement in entertainment?" And we hadn't realized that. She's obviously very just involved even outside of entertainment in a lot of different industries, so she gets invited to all kinds of events, and so from her vantage point she gets to see the larger picture, and she realized, why isn't there anything in this very big important month celebrating Asian Pacific Islander women and non-binary talent in entertainment? And Radiance was born. And so that was in December, mid-December, as we were doing, the industry was shutting down for holidays, prepping for Sundance, and we planned the first inaugural Radiance Gala in 2.5 months.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was gonna say, you said December. It happens in like the first quarter of the year,
That's
and my
wild.
event planning heart just like stopped for a second.
I know you, Ash, and I know you would be so anxious just thinking about that. That's crazy. 2.5 months is not a lot of time for anything.
And it looked beautiful. It
Oh,
looked
thank you.
stunning.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, that's really just a shout out to the team over at Cape. We are 4 women strong. It's myself, Grace Cow, Rianne Moore, and Jess Vu.
Yeah, I gotta like shout out to the team because really, you guys are doing the work of like a team of 15 people. And whenever I email you, there's just 4 people on that email, and you're like lifting up so many people. So I just gotta shout out the work that Cape is doing. While we're chatting, I just want to know, like, Cape has this lift as we climb philosophy that you'd like to use. Can you walk me through like how that came to be and kind of how it got started, and even how you implement for people who maybe want to implement this into their organization or just their lives in general?
Yeah, of course. I think it was honestly just looking back, just at the ethos of it. I mentioned we were formed by 3 very senior executives, and throughout the history, it has been a lot of the veteran people in the industry coming forward and saying, how do we help the next generation? And I'm the second longest running executive director at Cape. And so we're about 33 years old. They were volunteer run for the first decade and a half or so. And then they had Jennifer Sanderson, and then I came on shortly after Jen. And really, it's creating these programs. That's really one of our bread and butter. So just if I could step back and give a broader picture, the 3 main buckets that Cape works in. One is our pathway programs. So that's our writers fellowship, our leaders executive fellowship, our animation directors, and then the Julia Escow short film challenge, and some other very exciting ones that we will be announcing shortly. And then the second is the consulting that we do for all of the studios and networks, as well as training. And then the third is promotion of projects. And so we say that we are changing representation from the writer's room to the boardroom to the living room. And so that's the holistic 360 cycle of what we do. And really focusing on that pathway program, that first bucket is where we are focusing on emerging and rising talent. And because we have such a now, thankfully, this wonderful bench of people who have been in the industry for so long, they want to come back and give back, mentor, speak on our panels, and just really help out. And that's really that lift as we climb. What we've really seen, which is really exciting as we're building this new ecosystem, as an example, is our Writers Fellowship is to get people hired and staffed in writers' rooms. And so now we've got writers in over 60 shows across every major streamer and platform. And then when we started the Exec Fellowship, we're creating a horizontal feedback loop. So we very strategically focused on development and current execs, the ones who greenlight projects and the ones who hire writers and the directors and all of the casting. And so these are the people that actually change and impact what we watch on screen. And so they were then hiring our writers, and that was that horizontal feedback loop. But then what we saw is our writers side, they got in and they're slowly rising in the ranks, and now they're reaching back and hiring our emerging writers. So we just had a success story, Julie Wong, who started as a staff writer on Grey's Anatomy. She's now co-EP, reached back down, hired our recent graduate, Sandra Hamada, who's now a staff writer on Grey's. So it's just really exciting just to see everybody supporting each other in the community.
It's so cool. That's like, it's a good it's an ecosystem. You said the word, and it's really beautiful. I think Cape, I think I could say confidently, is a leader, at least for our community, right? Like I see that logo everywhere. In the best way possible. And just a general question, but you mentioned that your team is 4 women strong, and you have all these people that you are developing into leaders. And so generally speaking, what do you think are characteristics that make a great leader?
Ooh, this is a good question.
Oh, thank you.
What we like to see, or we practice a lot, is the growth mindset. And the ability to listen and also to serve. That's the way I think I've tried to approach things, through like the lead, what is it called, the servant leader, in a way that just to be also down in the trenches and contributing and pitching in where there needs to be support. And certainly it's a small team. We are hoping to grow. We are hiring for a development executive, if anybody, not the development on the, as it's known on the entertainment side, but on the nonprofit side. So development is the fundraising and the person who brings in the funds to keep the train on the track and to keep the lights on. And that way we can hire even more people and do more good things.
Wow. I mean, I want to talk more about Radiance, but I'm kind of distracted, honestly, because you're listing off a lot of the stuff that you do. Let me just I'm going to put this in the intro too, but I'm going to name some stuff. Adjunct professor, public speaker. You are doing so many things. You were a lawyer, and I can't even list the amount of things off the top of my head that you're doing, but can you talk about how in the heck do you balance doing all of that, running Cape, doing all of these things, balancing your own, you have to eat breakfast at some point? How do you do it?
Well, I mean, really, Cape is, people ask me so is Cape a full-time thing for you, or is it just something you do at night? And I'm always oh no, Cape is full-time plus. So it's working and then attending events at night and on the weekends. And so really I don't really teach as much anymore. It's just if the opportunity comes up every now and then, but it's mostly Cape, honestly.
Cape
and sometimes breakfast. I don't know.
Sometimes. But I mean, even plus for the people who aren't in the industry that are listening to the podcast, I like your little Cape cup, by the way. It's so like you have your daily work that you have to do just during the day, right? But that's not including time to watch screeners. That's not
Mm.
including time to do events, to go to these events, to meet people at these events, to do all these screenings, to do all these award shows. Like there's so much of the career and entertainment that is outside of like, your 9 to 5 sitting at a desk kind of deal. Like it's such like an 80-hour a week job. Um how is there anything that you do during stressful times? Like, okay, you plan this gala in 2.5 months, girl. Like, what did you do to stay okay?
Yeah, restore your mental health.
Yeah, I think the three main things I do is drink water, take a walk, and take a nap. Those are my three things. Yeah. I'm really big on power naps. I think that without that I would not get through.
You know what? That's such great advice because we hear all these like things that are like, you gotta reach the fifth dimension and then circle back to like reality and all these things when you're looking up self-help guide, like just water, nap, and what was the third one you said?
Walk.
Walk, water, nap, walk. That's it.
Walk.
The
You know,
basics
we
of being a human.
we all have that friend where like you'll be complaining about stuff. It's just like, I'm really stressed. I think I have a headache. And they're just like, just drink some water. And like it does help sometimes, it's like that restorative. And I totally get the walk thing. Popping in a podcast and just being
Yeah.
outside for like 20 to 40 minutes, even, like that does like just like cleanse my system. But to that end, to that question, there are a lot of people I've met in the time that I've gotten to be in this industry, which I'm still so very grateful for. But I see people get so jaded, you know what I mean? Whether the changes that they want to see are not happening, or they're sick of the work or whatever. But what kind of advice or what kind of things do you do to keep yourself from falling into that pit, if you even if that's even a threat for you? You know what I mean?
I mean, certainly I can see that, and I hear where that question is coming from. It's a tough industry, right?
Mhm.
Like there's there's a lot of obstacles, certainly, but there's also a lot of wins. And I think for me, I'm privileged because I get to sit in this space where I can help people, where I can. Sometimes it does get it's sort of interesting because the frustration is on the other side, where it's like, have you ever heard of that poem, the Star Thrower?
Mm-mm.
It's just briefly, it starts with this guy. He sees in the he's walking outside. He sees in the distance someone dancing on the shore at the beach. And as he gets closer, he realizes this person isn't dancing. He's picking up all of the starfish that have washed up in the tide, and he's trying to throw them back into the water to save them. And so he walks up to him and he's like, "What are you doing? There's no way that you can make a difference because there's so many and there's only one of you. And the sun is going to rise pretty soon." And the response was, well, as he's throwing it in another one into the water, he says, "Well, I made a difference to that one." Right.
Mm.
But it is sometimes daunting because we can't help everyone that we want to help. And so that's like sometimes the other side of things. But then when I just focus on the ones that we are able to help or some of the successes, that's what keeps me going.
That's so
Oh,
nice.
wow.
That's a
Oh
touching.
my
That's a touching
gosh.
poem. It's like it reminds me of like the Little Prince for some reason. That's the imagery I came up with in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, you help so I mean this gala in itself for women and non-binary folks, this is such a feat in its own. Is there anything that you're looking forward to in this second year of Radiance?
Yes, we got some new surprises. We will have a musical performance by Milk. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she's an amazing singer. Her song Quiet became, I think, the unofficial anthem of the Women's March. And I've known her for a while, and she's just a lovely and talented person. And she's also got a documentary coming out about that song and that experience. So,
Ah,
yeah, very excited to highlight her.
oh, that's lovely. Um, Law, do you want to pass them? I feel like this is a good
I think
pass the
this
mic
is
time.
I think this is a perfect time for it. Yeah. So, something that we like to do, you've probably in the past episodes, is we just hand the mic over, whatever you want to talk about, or whether it's promoting something, a piece of advice, whatever it is. We'd love to give you a soapbox on our little platform here. So
Oh,
take it away.
wow, that is so generous. I mean, it would really just be an extension of this conversation that we're having. And thank you for having me on and spotlighting CAPE and the work that we do. We are a nonprofit, and you can find us on Instagram at CAPE USA. And our website is www.capeusa.org. And we are a small team hoping to grow, 501(c)(3), and just, yeah. So I would ask if you're so inclined or are able to support us in any way, looking always for volunteers, monetarily, time, energy. Even if you like repost some of our things, that's always really helpful. And so I just want to thank everybody for supporting nonprofits in LA.
The Tremendous Talk podcast is produced by Lawrence Sharma, Ashley Rapuano Sanchez, Gabriela David, Joseph Corralde, and Jeremiah Abraham in collaboration with Tremendous. The Tremendous Talk podcast jingle is by Jared Sanchez and Ashley Rapuano Sanchez, produced at Amsterdam Records.